What is going on, guys? As most of you already know, my name is Chad and welcome to episode 3 of my Let's Talk Gun series. Today we're going to talk about the PP90M1 versus the MP7. As I said in the past, this series isn't here to cover every single proficiency and every single attachment for these weapons. It's more for me to discuss which ones I think are most beneficial and to kind of give you guys my opinion on the best class setup for these weapons. And remember, guys, these take me hours and hours to put together, so don't forget to leave a rating, but most importantly, enjoy the video. Alright, so let's start with the basics here. The first thing we'll discuss is fire rate. The first video is going to be without rapid fire, the second is going to be with rapid fire, so let's watch these and then we'll discuss the attachment further. First off, I was aware that the MP7 had a bigger clip size, so I did give it that 4-bullet head start, but no surprise, the PP90 did win in both tests. The interesting thing is, if you noticed, the PP90 actually finished faster with rapid fire than without, compared to the MP7, and this is because the rapid fire is a multiplier in this game. It doesn't just add a set amount of rounds per minute, it actually multiplies the rate of fire of the gun by 25%, and then it adds that, which is why the rapid fire attachment is actually slightly more beneficial on the PP90 than the MP7, because its fire rate is a little over 100 rounds per minute faster to start off with. So with all that said, we will get a little bit more into the rapid fire attachment at the end of the video when I talk about the class setups, but let's move on to the next topic now, which is recoil and bullet cluster. Alright, so when you hear the words recoil and bullet spread, the first thing you're probably going to think about is the kick proficiency, so we're going to have to test these weapons with and without it. This first video is obviously going to be without kick. The bullet spread on the left in yellow is going to be the MP7, as you can see there. Bullet spread on the right in red is going to be the PP90. So next we need to test these with kick. So let's go ahead and get these guns back out. Once again, the spread on the left is going to be the MP7, that's going to be in yellow. The spread on the right is going to be the PP90 in red. And the interesting thing about kick is it doesn't seem to affect these weapons all that much. And obviously the further back you go, you're going to see a little bit more of a difference. But overall, kick did not affect these weapons much at all, which is a good thing to know because that leaves us with the option to use either the attachment proficiency or the range proficiency. And again, we'll talk a little bit more about those at the end of the video. So let's move on to the hip fire spread. Alright, so obviously if you're going to be hip firing a lot, you're generally going to want steady aim as your third perk. Now, I'm personally not a steady aim guy. I don't recommend it on many classes. I love Stalker Pro, even on SMGs, because if you're rushing, if you're trying to take out campers, you're going to see a lot of Bettys, Claymores, IMSs. It delays all that stuff. It's almost impossible to die those. So I'm a huge Stalker Pro fan, but I am going to test these with steady aim because I am going to recommend steady aim on the PP90 class. You'll see why here in a minute, why I say this. So let's play this video and then we'll discuss steady aim a little bit further. Alright, so let's take a look at these patterns here. Obviously the left side in yellow is the MP7 and the right side is the PP90. Again, the MP7 hipfire sucks. The steady aim doesn't affect it that much, which is another reason why I don't recommend it on that gun. I use Stalker Pro. But as you can see, the PP90 shines with steady aim. Those bullets are clustered so tightly together and so consistent, it's actually more so than when we were aiming down sights. So if you're within 3-bullet range with a PP90, it's actually more efficient to not aim down sights and just hip fire. So we'll get into more of that when I talk about the class setups. But anyways, let's move on to the last part of our video, which is the gun's damage and how range and a suppressor affect it. Alright, so the damage of the PP90 is 4217. As I've said in the past, this means that at its best, it's going to do 42 damage per bullet or be a 3-bullet kill. As the distance from you to the target increases, the bullet damage is going to actually decrease and it's going to drop off. It's going to move towards that 17 mark, making it eventually at its worst a 6-bullet kill. Now if we take a look at the MP7, its damage is actually 3520, and this means a couple things. First off, it's still going to be a 3-bullet kill at its best, but the 3-bullet kill range is actually going to be a little bit shorter because its top end damage is lower than the PP90. However, at a distance, it's always going to be a 5-bullet kill because its low end damage is going to be 20, so it's actually going to kill in one less bullet at range than the PP90. Alright, so let's check the results of these field tests that I ran and see if these numbers add up the way that we think they should. Alright guys, so you'll notice I did this a little bit differently. Let me know if you like it. You may want to watch it in full screen so you can see all the data points. The target is going to be in the same spot as usual. That's going to be the red dot. The first dot up right here is going to be the PP90 with no attachments. It's going to be its 3-hit kill range. The next dot is where it starts the 6-hit kill. The first green dot is going to be the MP7's 3-hit kill range. The next dot is where it goes to 5 hits. Now we're going to use the range proficiency. This dot is the 3-hit kill for the PP90. The green dot in the middle there is the 3-hit kill for the MP7. The next dot is the suppressor for the P90, and then the suppressor for the MP7. So let's talk about these for a minute. Alright, so just to make things clear for you guys again, the solid dots are the standard ranges for the weapons. The dots with the white centers are with the range proficiency, and the dots with the red centers are with the suppressor. Blue is PP90 and green is MP7. So the first thing that jumps out at me personally is the fact that the MP7's 5-hit range is almost identical to where the PP90's 3-hit range stops, which in my opinion makes the PP90 a great candidate for something other than range because it already has sufficient range for an SMG. The MP7 on the other hand is going to benefit more from range. The second thing that jumps out at me here is that the range of the PP90 with the suppressor is the same as the MP7 without one, which again is going to make the PP90 a good candidate for a suppressor. So with all that said, let's go into a little more detail now about the proficiencies, attachments, and a few class setups. Alright guys, so after taking all that information into account, let's talk about the weapons a little bit and some class setups. The PP90, I would almost always recommend running attachments with the rapid fire and extended mags because you're going to be hip firing that most often. Don't forget the steady aim as well. We went through that. It's actually a little more accurate to be hip firing with this weapon than it is aiming down sights inside that 3-bullet kill range. So you're going to want to be hip firing most of the time. I hate to say that because it's kind of cheesy, but it is the most efficient way to use the weapon. You guys can see the rest of my setups. Elite didn't save some of the stuff. Like you can see it says Specialist twice down there, and it didn't save my red dot attachment on the one MP7 class, but it's no big deal. This stuff's self-explanatory. As far as the MP7 goes, I would almost always use range on it if you're not using the Specialist class because it does benefit more from range than the other weapons. As far as Specialist goes, I always run red dot and extended mags on this weapon because once you get the Specialist bonus, you're going to have all the proficiencies anyways. So, you know, running range isn't necessarily important. I'd run, like I said, attachments to get those extra bullets, and you can actually take Scavenger, you know, out of the Specialist pack. You won't need it until after you get the actual bonus. As far as steady aim goes, I told you the hipfire sucks with the MP7, so I don't bother with it. I always use Stalker Pro on this class, and that is one of my favorite perks anyways. This gun works perfectly with Stalker Pro. But overall, these guns actually complement each other really, really well. The PP90 is going to be great from close to, you know, just inside medium range. And then the MP7 is going to be great from medium to almost long range because it's only a 5-bullet kill like most of the assault rifles are. So try out these setups, guys. If you have any other suggestions for weapons that you want done, let me know. I'll see if I can get around to them. If you haven't subscribed already and you enjoy content like this, please subscribe. I spend a ton of time on these videos, so if you guys can hit the like button, I'd really appreciate that as well. And I will catch you all later, guys. Peace. You guys thought you got rid of me, but you didn't. You're going to watch more videos today. If you want, these are my other 2 Let's Talk Gun episodes that I did. The top is the Mark 14, and the bottom is the M16 versus the Type 95. If you guys haven't seen those, check them out. I would appreciate it. Again, if you haven't subscribed, click that subscriber button on the screen. I made it easy for you. As always, guys, I appreciate all the support, and I will catch you all later. Peace.